Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Michael Shu, and today we're going to be going through this giant stack of books. These are all the books I used throughout my aviation training, and today we're going to be going through them through PPL, Private Pilot License, Instrument, Commercial, CFI, and I'll be telling you whether I actually thought these books were useful or not, or books I got and that just sat in the corner and collected dust. But before we dive into all these books, be sure to go down and smash like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Be sure to leave a comment. I respond to 100% of all my comments, and I love getting comments. Alright, now you guys done that, let's go ahead and review some of these books. First and foremost is the FAR AIM. You guys don't know what the FAR AIM is all the rules and regulations regarding aviation. You guys might be wondering, Michael, how come you have 3 FAR AIMs? Well, it's because these books are updated every year. Now, I started my training back in 2019, and now it is 2021, and that's why I have 3 books. This is a book that every pilot should have. Doesn't matter whether you're in your private pilots, commercial, CFI, this is a book that you should be getting every year as well. Not only should you get it, you should also tab out all the useful regulations, and it's going to be helpful for when you have a check ride. Not only when you have a check ride, but when you have any questions about any regulations, this is the book that you refer to. So FAR AIM, definitely get it, and get it every year. Tab it, highlight it. This is the book to get, alright? FAR AIM, number 1, good. Next off, chart supplement. What is a chart supplement? Chart supplement is a supplement for all the charts. This is a California edition. So chart supplements are actually organized into different sections of America. So this one is the Southwest US, and unlike the chart supplement to the FAR AIM, the chart supplement is actually updated every 3 months, which means you buy one, in 3 months you're gonna have to get a new one, which could cost a lot of money. This goes around for $7, $8, $9, so every 3 months you have to buy one. But did I actually use a chart supplement? Well, I only have one chart supplement, and I think I only got it because I had a check ride. When you have a check ride, it's definitely good to have the physical copy of a chart supplement, so the DPE, your examiner, will know, okay, he knows where to look for all this information, and he's tabbed it out, and it's good. However, other than a check ride, I haven't really used a chart supplement. And that is because all the information found in this green book, you can find on ForeFlight, which is electronic, and it's gonna automatically update for free if you have this subscription ForeFlight. So this is a book that I recommend getting at least once during a check ride, and once you know exactly where to find all the information, I would go back to using ForeFlight just because it's more convenient and save a lot more time, and you don't have to spend money buying this every 3 months. Alright, moving on. So during my private pilot's training, I went through this giant book. It's the Jeppesen Private Pilot. This is a book I highly recommend, especially for beginners. It breaks everything down in really easy to read material. It has really nice diagrams and pictures as well. And this is the book I used throughout my private pilot's training. Like I said, if you are just starting to learn how to fly, I highly recommend this is a book to get. It goes through all the important things that you'll need to know, such as weather, airplane performance, navigation, airplane systems, aerodynamic principles, flight environment, communication and flight information, meteorological for pilots, interpreting weather data. 11 chapters. It pretty much covers everything you'll need to know from start to finish in your private pilot license. So this is a book I really recommend. This is a book I used in my Part 141 training, and it's a book I highly recommend. Moving on. Okay, Airplane Flying Handbook and Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge. If you're in the aviation world, people will refer to this book as the PHAC, and this one just the Airplane Flying Handbook. These 2 books are books I highly recommend as well. This one specifically, it goes through all the maneuvers and details. Very similar. The stuff inside is really similar to the Jeppesen book. I highly recommend getting both. A lot of people will always refer back to the PHAC, the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge, just because it is FAA verified. So whenever you have a source, you can't really reference it in your check ride to the Jeppesen because it's not FAA official document. So you always have to refer back to the PHAC. I think these two books are good supplements for each other. I think just having one on its own might not be enough knowledge. Having both of them is definitely good to have these to supplement each other. But when you go through the PHAC, it's definitely good. Like I said, you can always refer back to it in an examination during your check ride. So for this, I would also recommend highlighting and tabbing everything out. That's why when there's a question on runway incursions, you can tab it out and be like, boom, chapter 14, airport operations. I know everything about it. And you already highlighted it. So PHAC is definitely a good book to have to highlight for your check ride. And Airplane Flying Handbook, this just goes a little bit more in depth to those things in Pilot's Handbook. Airplane Flying Handbook this is the one that has different maneuvers, goes a little bit more in depth into complex systems. If you're just in your private pilot's license, you don't need the Airplane Flying Handbook. I think this is a more advanced book. Once you get into commercial, maybe into your certified flight instructing license, then this is a book where it comes in handy, where it explains complex systems a little bit more, supercharged, turbocharged, or supercharger engines, explains all those aspects a little bit better. So if you're in your private pilots or instrument rating, this is not a book that you need, but once you get to commercial, highly recommend this book, Airplane Flying Handbook. All right. 2019. So this is a private pilot test prep book. If you guys don't know, for every license or rating, you're gonna have to do a written test. And this book was here to help me with my written test. I actually went through all the questions here. However, I don't think this book is that useful. If you go to King School on their website and you search King School PPL written test, it has a section which is free where you can go through questions. I mainly use those as well, and that actually did really well. I got a 95 on my private pilot written test, and it only took me 15 minutes. I highly recommend the King School one, which is free. I'll link it down below to this one. This one is just a lot more tedious, a lot more reading to do, where the one online is just way more easier. This is a book I don't recommend. If you're studying for your written test, just go to King School or Shepherd Air if they have it for private pilot's license. So this book, you can skip. ACS, this is a book I highly recommend getting. Every pilot should get, because if you don't have this for your check ride, your DPE can immediately fail you, because you need to know the standards for all the maneuvers during your PPL check ride. This goes through all the information that you will know, what the standards and limitations are. For example, how much bank you are allowed to have in a steep turn, plus or minus, how much airspeed for a power on, power off stall. And for your check ride, your DP is gonna only be pulling through questions from here and asking you to do maneuvers from this. So if you go through all of this, you'll know exactly what your examiner is gonna ask you, and you won't be surprised. So this is a book I highly recommend getting. Moving on to our instrument rating now. Remember, we had a Jeppesen for our PPL. Well, we also have a Jeppesen for our instrument and our commercial. Like I said, Jeppesen books are really well written, easy to read, easy to understand. This is a book I highly recommend getting as well. For us, during my training in my Part 141 school, not only was there this book, but there was also an online module that really helped me, and it was really a lot more interactive, even though sometimes it was kind of boring and dry. But if you don't have that online module version of the commercial instrument version, that's okay. You can just purchase this book. Like I said, it has all the information that you'll need, really helpful, goes into detail, easy to read. Instrument, commercial, Jeppesen, highly recommend. A lot of books to go through. All right, like I said, ACS definitely need. There's one for each rating, so there's one for your PPL, instrument, commercial. Not ACS for your CFI, there's gonna be something else. We'll go through that a little bit later, but ACS for instrument, definitely recommend. Next off, we have the instrument oral exam guide. These books are lifesaver. These are basically questions that you might get asked during your check ride, and it puts it into a scenario-based question. That way you know exactly how to answer a scenario-based question, because your check ride is gonna be mostly scenario-based. They're not gonna randomly pull questions out, even though they sometimes do. But DPEs try to put it into a real life scenario and see how you answer it. For example, let's see, what are the different methods of checking accuracy for VOR equipment? I guess that's kind of scenario based, right? A person who applies for an instrument airplane rating must have logged the following what? See, this is really scenario based because during my check ride, the DPE was like, tell me how do we know that you are eligible to take this check ride? And I have to go through all the requirements that I needed in order to take this check ride. But in short, oral exam guide, definitely a book to get. Next off, we have the Instrument Rating 2020 Test Prep for your instrument rating. This is a book you can just skip. Look at that. It's not even out of the wrapper yet because I never used this. I think these books cost quite a bit. And instead of buying these test prep books, if you guys don't know what Shepherd Air is, Shepherd Air is an amazing training material that will help you get ready for your written test. I also made a video about Shepherd Air. If you guys want to know how to get it, be sure to click up there and I'd go into detail, step by step, telling you how to get the Shepherd Air. But this book, you can skip. Just get Shepherd Air. Save your money, save your time. Flying Handbook, and this just tells you a lot about, primary and secondary controls, what instruments to use when you're flying in the clouds. Although, to be honest, I only used this book probably once for my CFII check ride. And if you guys don't plan on getting your CFI or CFII, this is a book you can skip. It goes really into detail about the mechanics and the instruments, but like I said, if you're not gonna do your CFI, you don't need to get this book. Next off, we have the ACFs for commercial. I guess we're going to commercial now. ACS commercial, you heard me talk about the ACS. This is just the commercial version, definitely get it. Oral exam guide, definitely get this. This is brand new. I don't think I've used it much. I think this is a new one though. Definitely get the oral exam guide for the commercial. If you're in your commercial training, like I said before, really helpful. All scenario based questions. Get it. Commercial Pilot 2020 Test Prep. Said it earlier as well. This is a book you can skip. You don't need it. Just get Shepherd Air. Shepherd Air is amazing. You will score well if you put the time and effort into Shepherd Air. You don't even need this. Just get Shepherd Air. Ooh, now we're going into CFII, Aviation Instructor Handbook. This is a book you definitely will need during your CFI training. This is a book that talks about all the FOIs. If you guys don't know what FOIs are, they're fundamental of instructing. And that goes through all the different concepts and the theory behind all the fundamentals of instructing. This is a book that you'll use a lot, highlight, and you'll definitely be asked questions on FOI during your CFI check ride. So be prepared, get this book, highlight it as well. Last two books to go through, guys. We've almost made it. We're almost done. Last two books. And these last two books are the PTS. If you guys know what the PTS, it just stands for the Practical Test Standards. These are very similar to the ACS. ACS are just more updated versions of the PTS. You guys might be wondering, how come there's no ACS of the CFI and CFII yet? Well, because everything in aviation, it just takes a lot of time to refresh and update. And they've already updated the private pilot instrument and commercial, and that's why there's the ACS. They just haven't gone around to updating the PTS for CFI and CFII. Hopefully in the coming years, they will be refreshing these and making it into the ACS. However, these are books you should be getting because it basically tells you all the things you'll be needing to teach during your training. For example, you go here, you said airport, taxiway signs, marking, and landings. So you're gonna have to make a lesson on that stuff. Taxiing, another stuff, navigation system, radar. If you guys don't know how to use this, I've actually made a video going in detail talking about the PTS and how to make lesson plans. So if you guys are curious on how to make lesson plans, be sure to check out that video. So PTS, definitely get for these two books. And that is it for all the books I used during my aviation training. There are a lot of books, and I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give me a like. I just saved you a lot of money and time, so you didn't have to get some of these books that I just don't recommend. Be sure to leave a comment what you guys think. If there are some books that you would recommend to other pilots I didn't mention, be sure to leave it down. I love reading comments. But till then, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!